In my last review, I made references to Joe Ahern's Ultraviolet. It's an intelligent and compelling spin on the vampire mythos, in which a secretive government agency combats the threat of Stephen Moyer's career.
Got orders to shoot me on sight!
It also helps supercharge the careers of Susanna Harker, Jack Davenport and Idris Goddamn Elba. It's a superb slice of late 90s cult television, which I heartily recommend.
Whatever he's telling you, he's not being straight with you.
I bring it up again because there are similarities between this highly regarded series and 2005's Cold and Dark. Both feature cold and steely visuals, focusing on urban and industrial settings. They also feature covert organisations battling parasites which instill their victims with a thirst for blood.
Oh God! Oh Jesus Christ!
So the obvious question is, how do they compare? How do you think? Cold and Dark stars Luke Goss, a fact which many may find hilarious, if only because of his involvement with 80s musical visionaries Bros. I'm kind of okay with his casting. He's done vampire films before. He was the bad guy in Guillermo del Toro's Blade 2, a decent action film which I still enjoy. Here he plays Detective John Dark, because of course that's his name. His unit is being led by DCI Mortimer Shade, because of course that's his name. They're hot on the heels of a gang of human traffickers. Unfortunately, a raid on a warehouse goes squiffy, and Shade... Why isn't he called DCI Cold? Anyway, Shade is killed and then subsequently resurrected. Something which Dark seems remarkably okay with.
Gotta be honest though, you know, if it was anyone else, that whole monster thing, it would freak the living shit out of me, but I knew. It looks good.
The two of them begin dealing out rough and bloody justice, with both internal affairs and special agent and obvious love interest Albany hot on their heels. There's some back and forth about ethics and rules and what it means to be human, before inevitably John is forced to take his beloved governor down. The rot sets in during the opening credits. I literally could not read this. To be fair, I did have a low-res copy of the film, but still, the font completely blends into whatever this is we're supposed to be looking at. The opening is given some explanation, with the beginning of Goss's irritating narration.
It takes 40 minutes to bury a body. Longer, if it's still alive. Tougher, when it's your best friend.
I don't know what it is, but there's something about this man's voice which aggravates me, which I guess is apt considering what he was doing with it in the 1980s. If there's one term which encapsulates Cold and Dark, it's non sequiturs. Characters throw up random exchanges throughout the thing.
The summer he turned 15, she drowned. In a silo of chicken feed.
I had to suck sphincter all over Europe to get this. You have to say you like it.
This life isn't for you. You used to be the little piggy that liked roast beef.
This film does have an unusual approach to characterisation. Dark and Albany, who's played by actress Carly Turnbull, are fine for the most part. But there is something off about Shade. He has this brooding late 90s Angel-esque thing going on, which makes it seem like he's a vampire long before he's even turned. Trust me, look at this early clip and then tell me that this guy doesn't need to be doused in holy water straight away.
You do like it.
I like it.
You like it, Doug?
Then there's the references to several incidental characters in the film, including
Ernie Stein. The governor calls him Einstein. Einstein can't read, can't write.
And
Torval and Dean. That's Bob Torval and Mickey Dean. That's Bob Torval and Mickey Dean.
then there's Superintendent Maddox, played by David Gant, who's probably better known as that one guy who you recognise from that one thing.
As they say in Burma, they're making me drink monkey milk. Moo!
With all of that in mind, the casting does provide us with the one true highlight of Cold and Dark. That is Matt Lucas. He's another government agent, and this time he's one hot on the trail of the parasite, which he refers to as a grail. He's not too zany, nor is he too over the top, and at times he's actually kind of menacing.
It enters after death, burrowing into the heart and reanimating the corpse, digging itself deeper and deeper, mutating and corrupting the heart into its own monstrous form.
I do applaud this film's ambition. Originality is hard to come by in modern vampire fiction, and it's cool that Cold and Dark continues the late 90s, early 2000s diversion from easily marketable rom-coms and period dramas, which have been the dominant force in British cinema for so very long. Its nihilistic tone works for the most part. Unfortunately, it's difficult to invest in Cold and Dark because the atmosphere is ironically too dingy and oppressive. It's also not helped by the fact that some of the acting and a lot of the dialogue is horrendous.
Got myself a skinful last night, so I'm off the sauce. There'll be no naughty Morty.
This film could have been greatly improved if there was a little more action and gore. And Matt Lucas's contribution proves that there is actually a deep vein of dark humour there, which could have been exploited effectively.
He does have the power.
So, Cold and Dark. Good intentions, flimsy execution. And the director's name is Andrew Goff, because of course it is.
Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby. I could use just a little help. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire. Even if we're just dancing in the dark.
So,